You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Coming up, Joplin Police release more information about a crash on I-44.
We've already packed a fair amount of thunder and lightning into a Tuesday morning. Now our concern turns to flooding. We'll have the latest from the Skywatch Weather Center.
And after 2 years, a dog is reunited with her owner. All that and more coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thanks for joining us for the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. The search for 3 Berry County, Missouri escaped inmates is turned over to U.S. Marshals. 29-year-old Lance Stevens, 29-year-old Matthew Crawford, and 37-year-old Christopher Blevins escaped from the Berry County Jail Friday morning. Stevens was being held on drug charges and unlawful use of a weapon. Crawford on felony stealing and Blevins on drug charges, vehicle tampering, and unlawful possession of a firearm. The 3 men are considered armed and dangerous. Authorities believe the escapees are no longer in the area, but if you spot them, you are urged to call 911 immediately. Joplin police released the name of a Carthage man killed in a crash on Interstate 44. The crash happened just before 2:30 Sunday morning. Police say 44-year-old Juan Fuentes Jr. was driving a motorized scooter in the outside lane of I-44 eastbound when he lost control, crashed, and was thrown from the scooter. Authorities say Fuentes was then struck by multiple passing vehicles. The crash closed the interstate for 3.5 hours. At last report, the Joplin Police Major Crash Team was still looking for witnesses who may have saw the initial crash. A federal judge in Oklahoma says the state's 3-drug lethal injection method is constitutional. The ruling paves the way for the state to request execution dates for more than 24 death row inmates who were plaintiffs in the case. Attorneys for those inmates are expected to appeal the ruling. They argue the first of the 3 drugs, the sedative midazolam, is not enough to render an inmate unable to feel pain. Attorneys for the state rejected that argument. An area tribal leader is now commemorated on a coin. Wilma Mankiller was the first woman to serve as principal chief of the Cherokee Nation. On Monday, the U.S. Mint released the 3rd of its American Women Quarters program featuring Mankiller. Officials say the depiction shows Mankiller in a traditional shawl looking to the future with the 7-point star of the Cherokee Nation at her side. Missouri Southern is introducing a new program to help adults get their degrees. The university is launching a new adult degree completion program this fall. The new program will allow for greater flexibility for adult students to get their bachelor's or even master's degrees.
We are trying to create a program focused just on them. So the curriculum will be accelerated, 8 weeks online. We're trying to reduce any hurdles that they may have, either with admissions or the financial aid office, so that they get pretty much a tailored service for them.
We'll hear more about the new program and some unique challenges for adults returning to school later in the show. What's a day for some new beginnings at Pitt State? An orientation program for new students also happened to coincide with the first day on the job for PSU President Daniel Shipp. Shipp says he's excited to begin the school year and meet more people in the community. His goal is to listen and lean in to try to understand further the unique DNA of Pittsburgh State University.
So I'm a big believer in what you learn in the classroom is helpful toward how you apply it out in the real world. And so I wanted to work and serve at an institution that really cared about that.
President Shipp says part of the reason he chose Pittsburgh was because his son thinks gorillas are cool. One man really likes to turn up the heat, eating spicy peppers and breaking the Guinness record for eating the world's hottest peppers. Gregory Foster of California won the title by the record-keeping organization. He swallowed 3 Carolina peppers in less than 9 seconds. Foster ate the peppers in 8.72 seconds on his second try. Ouch. He defeated current record holder Mike Jack by roughly 1 second. My question is, how long was there before the first try and the second try?
Would you wait or would you just like go?
Yeah, because you got to let your stomach settle.
Really? Okay, I was thinking.
I don't know if you're in the building yet, but I'm dedicating this story to our fellow coworker, James Mast.
Yeah. See, I wouldn't wait. Like, I understand what you're saying. I wouldn't give it I'd just be like, we're going right now.
James, did you know that there's a record for this? Okay, so 3 Carolina Peppers, Carolina Reapers.
I did know that there was a governing body of it. Yeah, I did know that.
He could do this.
Until Mike Jack gets his record back. I'm a poet and I didn't know it. All right, we've got pockets of thunderstorm activity. Now, this, if you're just joining us, number one, thank you for waking up with us. Number two, we've actually gotten a lot better in the past several hours because when this thing rolled through, look, it was much more sustained. Now we're starting to see little patches and breaks in it. But even with that being said, right here, this is our big one that goes from Jasper into Barton County, right along I-49, heavy rain moving to the east of the interstate as well. And this is where we've seen really the majority of our lightning in the past 15 minutes, that pocket right there. Down to the south, we've had a hard time getting the one from Montgomery County, now mainly dominating Labette and into Cherokee County. We've been having a hard time getting it to move. It's just been very stagnant. And now we've seen the southeasterly dip take it into Ottawa County as well, close to the Miami area. And remember, down there is where we have the flood warning for the Neosho River. Up to the north, we've got Stockton and Osceola that are right in the middle of, like I said, small little pockets of very heavy rain of thunderstorm activity. With that being said, so far, no countywide warnings, and all the severe thunderstorm warnings have stayed down to our south. I do want to point out, though, that those warnings that we did have, see, there's the Neosho. That's certainly not going to go anywhere. Neither is the Osage nor the Little Osage flood warnings. But nothing countywide like what we had yesterday. Current conditions over 7th and Range Line, 72 degrees, wind not too bad. Even when it does blow through, temperatures really do not drop. So that's kind of been one nice aspect of this. But the flip side of that is, by the time we get to the afternoon hour and we begin to clear off, it's going to be like yesterday. It's going to be a tad bit humid. You'll also notice too, right-hand side of the weather trend, yep, we're going to be right back at this tomorrow morning. So as we clear out for tonight, make it up into the 80s. Wednesday morning, top of your screen, bottom of your screen. System from the north, system from the south. As they combo up, very heavy rain. Once again, it's going to be flooding as our main risk. This also could bring us a little hail when it rolls in from the far northwestern section and pushes out, say, early afternoon hours. And then Thursday, we calm down considerably. Right back at it with widespread rainfall on Friday. Luckily, a nice weekend. It's just a matter of keeping our head above water before we get to Saturday and Sunday.
All right. I'm looking forward to the weekend already. Done with this rain.
I am done with the rain, period.
There you go.
Yes.
Well, up next, those who experienced long COVID could also face sleeping issues. We explain. And later, she's back, and so is a big event coming up in SEK. SEK Humane Society's very own Jasmine Kyle returns to Studio C to talk about Bark in the Park. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
Topping Health Watch this morning, authors of a new study say they were surprised to find little research that could be helpful to patients considering using cannabis products to treat chronic pain. Doctors at Oregon Health and Science University looked through more than 3,000 other studies and saw some indication products with cannabis could bring short-term relief, but those products varied widely and had notable side effects. The COVID-19 treatment drug Molnupiravir provides even more benefits for non-hospitalized patients battling the virus. Now, according to research published in the Annals of Internal Medicine, those with mild to moderate COVID symptoms who received the drug recovered faster and did not need respiratory intervention or an urgent care visit. Researchers say even more benefits could also be discovered over time. More than 40% of people battling long COVID experience moderate to severe sleep disturbances. Doctors at Cleveland Clinic say Black patients are 3 times more likely to deal with sleep disturbances. Long COVID patients with higher body mass indices or struggling with anxiety disorders are also impacted. On average, around 38 children die every year after being left in a hot car. That's according to the Kids and Car Safety Organization, a tragedy that does not have to happen. Mandy Gaither has more on the push to make parents more aware of this danger.
It can happen in a matter of minutes. As the sun beats down on a car, a danger rises up.
Children, in fact, they get overheated 3 to 5 times faster than adults. this can prove to be very, very deadly.
Leaving a child in the car, even for a quick errand, can be dangerous. Children's Healthcare of Atlanta's Strong for Life program says when it's 75 degrees, it takes 30 minutes for the inside of your car to hit 104 degrees. But the danger rises with the temperature. At 95 degrees outside, it takes 5 minutes for the inside to reach 102.
Children, they don't do a good job of sweating. They also dehydrate very, very quickly, and they don't evaporate the heat from their skin as efficiently as adults, which makes being in a hot environment, including being in a hot car, a particularly dangerous situation for small children and infants.
Pediatric emergency physician Dr. Manisha Agarwal says many times exhausted parents accidentally forget their child is in the car. Experts suggest buckling a stuffed animal in the front seat or putting something you need in the back seat with your child.
Some people say put one of your shoes back there. Some people say put your phone, put your purse, put your wallet. Hopefully it will trigger you to look back and notice, oh, my child is back there too. I need to do something.
Doctors say parents should call 911 immediately if there are signs of heat stroke in a child. Those can include confusion, nausea, lack of consciousness, lack of sweat. Watch out for that. I know that sounds like a weird one, but that's a serious one. If your kid's not sweating, fast breathing, and seizure. People who go for a ride and probably hope they do not leave anything behind as far as Uber goes, but countless passengers, they forget something regularly. Uber revealed its 2022 Lost and Found Index. Lists riders' most unique and most often forgotten belongings for drivers to find afterwards. Some of the most common items, of course, keys, wallets, speakers, headphones, IDs, I guess even items of clothing. Okay. However, when it came to unusual, riders went above and beyond. Those items include a pizza costume, tater tots, a Billie Eilish ukulele, a fingernail, and a set of grandma's dentures. If you're sitting at home right now and you're asking yourself, why are clothes on the regular list? I'm kind of with you. Let's stay clothed in Ubers, people. Let's stay clothed. Live look over 7th and Rangeline where we see the cloud cover beginning to grow elevation-wise, an indicator that we're going to get a little bit of that storm system making its way into South Joplin. It's already there in Ottawa County. One thing I do want to point out is we've lost a little bit of the intensity as far as what we were seeing in Labette and Cherokee County as it approaches Joplin. We have not lost any intensity in this one for the northern part of Jasper County, stretching into Barton County. Heavy rain to go along with the lightning as it now passes on the east side of I-49. Give you an idea of the lightning strikes right there. It is just in that pocket, bouncing back and forth. So the next stop for it will be pushing on Highway 37. And also, too, want to point out that this thing right here, it is not moving very quickly. We like it sometimes when they can take off and get out of here, because that's going to help us flooding wise, but this one has just been kind of a slow mover since it originated in southeast Kansas. Push up into the northern portion, a little bit by Osceola and Stockton where we're seeing the heavy rain. But then as we kind of draw back, we get shower activity for the rest of the 4 states, spotty at best throughout southeast Kansas. We do see a little bit of a back build right here, but if we can get that thing, number 1, to dissipate, number 2, drop down to the southeast, that is really going to help us for the rest of the later morning hours. And really, we've been lucky flood-wise this morning. Our ground has actually been able to take some on, and it is thanks in part to what we were able to clear off with yesterday. Plenty flat jet stream resulting in very warm temperatures just below us. We're actually going to be pretty much average for this time of year, as we're already kicking around 72 degrees, and we'll be up around, say 84, 85 later on this afternoon. We will get a break. However, remember, tomorrow morning, we're going to be more widespread and even a little bit more intense as the system combines from the north and the south, just in time for the Wednesday morning commute. Be back with more KOAM morning news, and Jasmine Kyle from the SEK Humane Society joining us in studio right after this.
Welcome back. We're welcoming back Jasmine Kyle from the SEK Humane Society into our studio this morning. And Big news. I'm so excited to hear that Bark in the Park is returning.
Yes, ma'am. So we've been working on this behind the scenes for a few months now. And we just got word from the city of Pittsburgh yesterday that our permit's approved. So yes, Bark in the Park, one of our favorite outdoor community events, it is coming back for 2022. We are looking at the date of October 15th. From 11 to 3, all of our usual Bark in the Park activities, they are coming back in full swing. So we're going to have vendors. It's back at Schlinger Park as well.
Okay.
We'll have vendors all across the park. We're going to have our dog show. We're going to have the community dog walk. We've already confirmed with Good Boy Professional Dog Training that there's going to be free dog training demos on site. We are looking at a super duper fun packed day, to say the least.
Are you going to be utilizing the dog park portion of Schlinger Park or doing it all out in the big open area?
Oh yeah, big open area, because we get a lot of community members, and again, the dog park that the city has is gorgeous, absolutely great, but with so many people and animals on site, we like to use the whole park's advantage. But if your dog and yourself are getting a little too much and need a break, the dog park is a nice way to walk away, kind of de-escalate, and just get to have fun with yourself. But we'll have food vendors on site. We're getting some timelines and some events prioritized right now, so I can't say a whole lot, but there's going to be a new art activity that includes dogs and their pet parents. So we've got a lot of exciting news to come, but we are blessed that we're able to bring this event back, because with the pandemic, we haven't been able to really have one of these very large-scale in-person events. But with everything getting on the mend and with the city's approval and getting our plans in place, we're super excited.
Oh, this will be fun, definitely. And again, when is the date that we're looking at for this?
Yeah, October 15th. It used to be in July, and it's so hot. So we moved it last year to the fall timeline, and it was much better. So October 15th from 11 to 3, so for 4 hours.
All right, that sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And you mentioned the heat of the summer in July, and you know, the heat index yesterday was just insane.
Yeah.
We need to be taking care of our pets right now.
Yeah.
Like if your pets have to be outside during the day, what are things that we can do to help them?
Yeah, so the first thing we always recommend, if it's a hot day, put your hand on the concrete. Not on your side, not when you go out in your door and your door porch, you know, and you put your hand, it's in the shade. No. Go out to your strip of the concrete, and where that sun is on, put your hand down. If you can't comfortably put your hand on that concrete, that's too hot for your dog's paw pads. I mean, that's really, really bad. So with another thing that we would also highly recommend is bring not only a water bottle for yourself, bring one for your dog. Especially there's silicone pop-up cups that you can buy at pet stores. They cost $5 to $8, or you can bring one of your own Tupperware plastic bowls in your fanny pack. Make sure that you can have a stop at a break. You know, if you're going from location from A to B, that dog can easily, and you can sit down. You can have a drink, but they can have a drink too, because you keeping hydrated is just as important as your dog keeping hydrated, because they sweat out of their paw pads. So make sure that they, especially for heavier breeds like German Shepherds, Great Dane, not so much Great Danes, but St. Bernards, those heavy coats, they can easily get heat exhaustion, including some specific mixes like pugs that have upper respiratory issues with breathing. It's really not good for them in that heat. So please make sure that if it's too hot for you to touch, it is too hot for them to touch. And then bring water for them. A lot of people will forget that on walks, but please bring water.
And then back at home, I mean, we've talked about this in the past, putting ice in their water dish.
Yes.
You know, things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's some really nice DIY recipes that are dog safe that you can actually add to their water bowls, like pumpkin puree treats, watermelon juice treats. Absolutely. Those are a super fun summer activity for kids too. I was just at Walmart the other day, and they had these silicone paw pads, which were like $5, and we started making our own DIY dog treats and that type of stuff. And it was a good family activity that you can do on the weekends. It took 30 minutes to maybe mix everything up, put it in the freezer, and in a few hours you pop them up, and that's just a fun activity.
Oh, cool. So you actually have like the floating treats in there.
Exactly, and it's something great for kids. So if you're looking where your kids need a little bit more activity, maybe something to keep them busy, that's awesome. So not only do they get cooking experience, but they're getting enrichment out of it, and the dog's getting a super special bonus treat.
And just like your kids who like to play in the water, your dogs do too.
Absolutely. We're actually working on cat enrichment right now at our shelter. We have a giant renovation project happening. Our cat room right now looks a little rough, and it's for good reason. We have stripped all of the wood from it. So about a year ago, we started working with the United States Humane Society and the Department of Ag with the state of Kansas, because ringworm was becoming such a huge issue for shelters. So ringworm is not a worm, it's a spore. That's what a lot of people don't realize. That spore can last over a year active in the air. You can get ringworm wherever. You can get it in the park, you can get it in a store. If it's on your shoe and you bring it home, it is one of those zootopics where people can get it, but so can animals. Now, it is easily treated, but it's a pain to treat for animals because it usually requires 2 to 4 weeks of medication. So for us, on what we have had for 40 plus years is our cat room, which is an open air cat room, right, where everybody's loose. So let's say, for example, that spore, and with our old wooden features, if a cat scratches and that spore goes in the wood, that's now in the wood. And with what do cats do? They rub against, and then you have cross-contamination.
Yep.
Same thing if somebody from the public has ringworm at their house and doesn't know the signs of it, and they come into that room looking for adoption, it's cross-contamination. So what you have probably seen from a lot of shelters across the United States in the past year or two is a lot of people transforming their cat rooms with actual kennel units inside of them, getting rid of wooden features to switch out to metal, which is much more sanitary, and that's exactly what we're doing. So we've demoed that room. All of the wooden side features and the ramps, they're gone. We have brand new luxury condo units that are being shipped to us, and shipping is a huge thing in the US right now, so we're waiting for those kennels to come in. We have a giant 3-stage metal tower for the cats, metal benches for that room for people to sit on so we can still take cats out and you can still play with them. Metal cabinets, the whole 9 yards. So that room is getting a major renovation and makeover, and we are super excited.
Never thought about the wood, and it's like that
right?
in every shelter. You know?
And we didn't think that either until Kansas Department of Ag reached out, and they were like, yeah, some shelters are making changes. And then we reached out to our state representative with the HSUs, and they were like, yeah, that is actually a huge thing, and we highly recommend you start working your way to get rid of wood. And of course, we'll miss those features, right? Because they were easily made, and we've had to fundraise so much to be able to get to this point. But we're so happy because these enrichment units and these new luxury cat condo units that are coming in, they're gorgeous. They will be absolutely amazing for these animals too. We have, thankfully, 2 contracted stores here in town where we also do cat adoptions, which is Claws and Paws Pet Store on 4th Street, and then Pet Sense out by the big Walmart here in Pittsburgh. So the cats that we have usually don't stay in our cat room for very long either. They usually will go out to those locations and get adopted, but if we have them on site, they'll have this brand new room with giant enclosure units with brand new activity zones. It's going to be great.
Cool. That'll be fun to check out once we get that shipping here.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Well, do you have anything else you'd like to add before we go?
No, we have a lot coming up, but as again for this weekend, we have our Pet Sense event this Saturday. We're going to have 3 puppies on site, Great Dane, Red Heeler mix, and a Border Collie mix. And then this Sunday is our first ever microchip clinic to the public. I have 10 spots left, and you can purchase those at the Doggy Bag at 514 North Broadway. They're open from 11 to 6 Tuesday through Saturday. And again, the biggest thing with these vouchers is you have to present me your up-to-date rabies vaccine. Okay. That's our only requirement. And we're doing cats and dogs. No cattle, no horses, please, but we will do cats and dogs, okay?
All right, and we talked in depth about both of these events coming up this weekend in our other interview, and you can find that later this morning on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you.
And hope to see you in a couple weeks.
Absolutely.
We'll be right back.
A highly decorated veteran, earning a Purple Heart and a Bronze Star among numerous other awards. To Private Russell Lowry, we thank you this morning's Force Day. After nearly 2 years apart, a dog, previously assumed dead, is now home with her owner. It's an unforgettable, improbable reunion that happened Thursday at a Humane Society in Kansas. Sean Logan with the story.
She's trying to rub her scent all over the ground.
Together, again.
She's holding on to me right now. She's literally gripping my arm.
And Miley Trist is keeping her Chihuahua, Jazzy, close.
Jazzy, come here. Hi. Hi, honey. Hi. Hi, baby.
They were reunited Thursday.
Hi. Hi.
at the Cowley County Humane Society after 2 years apart.
I was crying and I was shaking because I was just so overjoyed that she was, for one, still alive, and for two, that I could bring her finally home.
At 16, Miley met Jazzy at a California Humane Society, and it was love at first sight.
She is the sweetest baby.
But when moving to Salina in 2020, Miley says she gave Jazzy to a friend to look after her dog while she got settled.
They blocked me, I couldn't contact them, and then finally when I did find contact, they had told me that she died.
The call that Jazzy was found alive 3 hours away from Salina in a rock quarry was a very welcome surprise after mourning her for a year and a half.
Regretting giving her to those people and feeling so guilty about it, and I'm so glad I finally got her back.
Miley says what she experienced with Jazzy just shows the importance of why pet owners need to have their pets microchipped so that no matter where they might be found, they can make their way back home.
Every single animal has a different name, different microchip number, and it makes sure that you and only you get your pet back, and that's the biggest thing to me.
While still getting settled
My old lady, my little lady.
and acquainted with her new furry siblings,
She curled up in between my legs last night, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's amazing to have my little cuddle buddy back.
Jazzy isn't short of any love.
Good girl.
Also, too, if you're interested in microchip for your animal, remember, check out KOAMnewsnow.com. Jasmine Kyle caught up with that information for us in the first hour of our show over on KOAM. So once again, it's a great opportunity, and all that information at KOAMnewsnow.com. Another half hour of news and weather just ahead. Coming up, Wonders of Wildlife, honored as the best tourist attraction in the nation. And a 102-year-old Kansas woman may have given her bucket list of the secret to a long life, but today we want to know what you'd like to accomplish. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. We'll be right back.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:36. A spike in COVID-19 cases in St. Louis prompts the return of mask mandates. Some businesses and at least one major tourist attraction are requiring people to cover their faces. Pepper Baker reports.
I'm more disappointed than surprised because I think we could have been beyond this.
That's how Luann Harding feels about the surge in COVID cases. She and her brother Ignatius Harding were visiting the Arch from out of town and made sure to have their masks on.
I've seen very few people here with them on at all. I've been here for 2 days.
It's worrisome. I'm a Franciscan brother, a Franciscan friar, and we've lost 7 of our friars through COVID. And some of them were just by someone being out without a mask and coming home and giving it to everybody else in the house.
Mercy Hospital infectious disease specialist Dr. Farron Mannion confirmed that the city and county have now entered into the high transmissibility risk zone.
The percentage has gone up, say from 3 or 4% just a couple of months ago to about 20% now being positive for COVID.
The St. Louis Metropolitan Pandemic Task Force is seeing about 39 new COVID patients each day.
Boosters are really going to be crucial in terms of preventing or trying to reduce our chance of getting this infection and certainly winding up in the hospital.
That's why starting Monday, anyone visiting the Gateway Arch will be required to wear masks inside all park buildings, regardless of vaccination status. The foundation made the announcement on their Facebook page.
I think it's a good idea for the people that are to protect themselves, but also to protect their neighbors.
I think we should take full protection of everything we can in our disposition, and that means masking indoors as well as getting vaccinated and getting boosted if you're eligible.
Employees in the city of St. Louis and the county are required to wear face masks, but they're still optional for customers. For the 4th time in 5 years, Wonders of Wildlife in Springfield is honored as one of the top tourist attractions in the country. The award comes after participants in a USA Today online poll selected Wonders of Wildlife's aquarium as the best in the nation. Leaders from across Missouri agree recognition like this means a lot to Springfield and the entire region.
It's just great to have that distinction here and to be able to do it 4 times in a row. You know, there's a lot of attractions out across this country. It's a big deal for our state.
It fits so well with our outdoor life here and what we hope to have people remember Springfield for when they come in. And then you talk about the economic driver that it is in the community. You just cannot overstate that.
Bass Pro officials also unveil this artist rendering of a second video board that's in the works. They say the huge display will face the major Springfield intersection next to Wonders of Wildlife.
Don't forget also the Angling Hall of Fame.
Yes.
Yeah.
My son's third grade class got to travel all the way to the Wonders of Wildlife for a field trip this year, which was amazing.
Did you not sign on to go as a parent? You should have said, I will volunteer to go to that.
I had to work.
Oh, now I feel bad. Like, no, Michael, you maybe get in the studio. I'm like, yeah, I'll boot that. All right, Skywatch storm trackers, we're picking up just a pocket of heavy rain now in Greenfield. We have some good news here. As this one approaches Joplin, it has turned into shower activity, no longer a thunderstorm threat, but then as we push off to the west, we're getting a little bit of back build. And so as that rides the state line, that's why it lasts all the way until the later morning hours. Our temperatures today going to be up into the 80s. We're not going to get there until the afternoon, and so don't go anywhere without the umbrella because our rain's going to persist for several more hours. Be back with more KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this. This morning on the KOAM News Now Facebook page in our morning Insta poll, a set of twins setting a rare milestone is celebrating their 102nd birthday. One of them lives in Kansas, the other one in California. Here's the great thing. They're actually going to hook up on Thursday via Zoom for a birthday celebration. Our question for you this morning, one thing on your bucket list. And right now, while 32% of you go with the other category, we've got another 32% chiming in and saying travel, and that is followed in third place, technically third place, 20% saying make it a positive change. KOAMnewsnow.com/vote or our Facebook page, KOAM News Now. Missouri Southern State University launching a new program to help adults earn college degrees. That happens to be one of our options on here, completing education. KOAM's Chris Warner with the story.
For adults that didn't complete their college degree, going back to school isn't always something they can easily do.
We know adult learners probably have other responsibilities, whether they're a parent or whether they're working full-time. So the experience needs to be a little bit different for them.
So Missouri Southern State University is launching a new program called the Adult Degree Completion Program, which is aimed at helping those adults get back to school.
We are trying to create a program focused just on them. So the curriculum will be accelerated, 8 weeks online. We're trying to reduce any hurdles that they may have, either with admissions or the financial aid office, so that they get pretty much a tailored service for them.
The program kicks off in the fall 2022 semester, and the inaugural class is expected to be around 25 students. However, between now and then, there are still things the university has to adjust to accommodate the new program.
We do have policy about residence and how many hours you have to have here, but we are working with our faculty and our administration to try to determine what that policy will be for these folks.
Tuition costs will be the same as for other students, but there are options available for those who can't pay out of pocket.
Yeah, so financial aid is a little tricky as an adult learner. Some students still may be eligible for a Pell Grant if they hadn't used it all, if they had been in college before. But Missouri, the actual state, has several grants and programs, including Finish Line, to come back to school and finish a degree. And so there would be options like that for them.
In Joplin, Chris Warner, KOAM News.
Mount says the initial degree that will be offered, a bachelor's in general studies with an emphasis in business. He says the university plans to offer additional degree options as the program continues. We'll be back with Consumer News right after this.
In Consumer Watch this morning, your next iPhone software update might include some changes you've been hoping for. Apple showed off some of its new features and gadgets during a showcase on Monday. Anna Eliopoulos takes a look.
Helps you get so much done.
Apple on Monday showcasing some big changes on the horizon for its newest operating system, iOS 16. New customization options are coming to the iPhone's lock screen. Users can now add more widgets that provide information at a glance, like weather forecasts and upcoming calendar events.
So I'll add the temperature, my activity rings, and let's drag in the calendar widget.
One feature that will likely be a highly anticipated change for nearly all iPhone users, the ability to edit or unsend a text after it's already been sent.
Have you ever wished you'd never sent that message at all? Well, good news. Now you have undo send. so you can immediately recall a recent misfire.
This is something that especially is widely used by this new Gen Z audience. And now that they're building in more capabilities into iMessage to keep you in there and keep you glued, I think that's great for the whole ecosystem.
A buy now, pay later feature is also coming to Apple Pay. Now people who pay with the app will have the option to split purchases into 4 equal payments.
Spread over 6 weeks with 0 interest and no fees of any kind.
Outside of the iPhone, Apple also showing off its next generation of MacBooks, powered by the company's latest chip, the M2, which Apple says will provide faster processing while using less power. Something that was absent from Monday's announcement, any mention of Apple's work on a VR headset. Gamers had hoped for news on that gadget, which is rumored to have been in the works for years. Anna Eliopoulos, Fox News.
Just remember, if you try to unsend that message, if they've already seen it, you can't make them unsee it. There's your warning. We'll be right back with more after this, but first, let's take a look at the market prices before the opening bell.
Today's entertainment report just may have you checking your calendar. David Daniel with a double-barreled blast from the past in our Hollywood Minute.
Kenny Loggins.
Kenny Loggins received NAMM's Music for Life Award for his contributions to music and music education at this year's NAMM convention. It coincided with the resurgence of his song Danger Zone from the original Top Gun, as the sequel Top Gun Maverick dominates theaters.
I just saw a little piece of the first Top Gun the other day on the TV, and I did not remember how young we were. But that they all look like babies to me. It's like, what? How did that happen? And now here we are 30 some years later going, wow, well, it's happening again.
Let's go. Stephanie is a pink lady, which means if you're not a T-bird, you can look, but don't touch.
Well, then how'd you become one of these T-birds?
It's the 40th anniversary of Grease 2, which starred Maxwell Caulfield as a new student pursuing Pink Lady leader Michelle Pfeiffer.
This was a fantasy version of high school. You know, I mean, high school, of course, high school is one of the most vital times of your life, but it's also, there's a lot of angst and there's a lot of insecurity.
What if behind those goggles he's just some ordinary guy?
What if he is?
Grease 2 is out now in a limited edition 40th anniversary Blu-ray steelbook for all you cool riders. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
After the beginning of that, I'm tempted to go home, pop open my vinyl of Night Watch, and just cruise through the afternoon. Skywatch Storm Tracker, right now, we're looking at the one right over Greenfield. We've lost our lightning that's involved with that cell, so that's a good thing as it progresses off to the east. Be out of our highlighted counties here in, say, the next 15 to 20 minutes. This one from Montgomery County through Labette into Cherokee County and now stretching into Joplin has done a good job dissipating from its original intensity. A little bit of it filtering into Newton County right now, but still, showers will be along the state line of Kansas and Oklahoma and into southwest Missouri for really the rest of the morning. Then get ready for a repeat of yesterday afternoon when it got rather humid when the clouds broke. We'll do that again. And then remember, thunderstorm activity back on us tomorrow morning. We'll be back with more KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Here's what's happening today. It's primary day for parts of the country. Voters in 78 congressional districts over 7 states head to the polls. More than a dozen of those are considered to be in competitive districts that could help decide control of Congress this November. Lawmakers in Washington say they are close to a deal on legislation addressing gun violence. Some hopeful it may be ready this week. A bipartisan group of senators are working on a proposal that includes enhanced background checks, new incentives for states with red flag laws, and investments in school safety and mental health. Today, the Food and Drug Administration will discuss an emergency use authorization request from Novavax for its coronavirus vaccine. The company's jab uses traditional technology, unlike the mRNA shots from Pfizer and Moderna. If the FDA gives the okay, it may be a while before the Novavax vaccine is available. CDC has yet to schedule a meeting of its advisors for final approval.
We've got shower activity for the rest of our morning and even spotty through the afternoon. It's going to warm up. We'll be into the mid 80s and it's going to be humid. So let's get ready for tomorrow morning already, because two systems combine to form one here and do so just in time for Wednesday morning's ride if you have to be out the house early, or if you leave a little bit later. It's still going to be lingering for the late morning hours. Temperatures maintain the 80s all the way into the weekend.
Well, Krispy Kreme is welcoming summer with a brand new treat. The beloved donut chain is releasing its pick of the patch only for a limited time. The 4 donut collection includes blueberry cheesecake, strawberry shortcake, and the mixed berry cobbler. And they're debuting the mixed berry glazed. Yummy, all inspired by berries. I'm so hungry right now. The treats will be available Fridays to Sundays starting June 10th. You can find out more by visiting krispykreme.com/promos/mixedberry.
I would be so tempted to walk into a Krispy Kreme and just yell, "Blueberries!"
They could hook you up.
Thank you so much. Oh, thank you so much for letting us put the good in your morning. We will be back with more news and weather when we see you at noon.
Have a great morning and an even better day.
Since 19